Hey everyone, how's it going? Let's play some Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup with our beautiful Ogre Venom Mage in this beginner caster guide. Alright, so we did indeed take out the Orcish mines, and that leaves us with the slime pits, the spider's nest, the swamp, or the elven halls as sub-branches. We could also return to the main dungeon and work on clearing those last 5 levels toward the depths. But I think it's a good time to go for our first run, rune, rather. And we're going to do that in the swamp. So I'm just going to push Shift G to bring up the branches that you could travel to. And the game is asking, where to, buddy? And I say, well, take me to the swamp, which is capital S. And I just push capital S. It says what level. The default is 1. I've never been in. 1 sounds good to me. I'm just going to push enter. Now bear in mind that when you do this, it will take you right down the steps into the first level of the swamp. However, when you're doing these long distance travels, the game will often stop you and tell you things like this, like you're hungry. And so I'll just eat something. And then you can just push Shift G and enter as it remembers where you were going. So you don't have to actually push like capital S again and tell it what floor or whatever. It will remember your last destination. You can just push enter to resume that travel. Alright, and right away we see Scroll of Remove Curse, Potion of Resistance, and a Potion of Curing. Fantastic. Okay, so here's a Spiny Frog. Here's a tip. Standing in the water is generally a bad idea. You attack slower in the water, or most things do. I'm an ogre, so that means I'm big, which means I can actually attack at an okay attack speed in the water, but moving is slower. So if I'm trying to run away, I'm slower in there. Also, Hydras move faster in the water, so calculate that when you're trying to run away from a Hydra, which is actually normally slow on land. In the water, they will close that distance on you and surprise you. So I like to fight standing on the ground, so I'm going to step back and around this corner, and this Spiny Frog is going to come at me. Now remember, Spiny Frog Man is resistant to poison, so we've got some other spells that we can cast on him, like for example Fireball. Fireball, unfortunately, is very loud, and so I'm a little bit hesitant to do that. I could cast instead Stone Arrow, which is actually quiet, and it won't attract nearby attention, and I think that's pretty reasonable. Frozen Ramparts is good, but it's also loud, and so my job here is to not be loud. Alright, this guy has got up on me, and I'm just going to give him a sting, and then ignite his poison, and then give him a stone arrow to think about, and he's gone. Here comes a Spriggan Rider. This is a new enemy for us. Spriggan Riders are really, really quick, and they can do more damage than you would expect. So they're on top of a hornet, I believe, and so... Oops, let me just examine it. So it doesn't see us. It's a Spriggan that has a hornet as its mount, and it's tasked with protecting the Spriggan fens and cairns from intruders. So I guess I'm intruding on his area, and he's upset about it. It's understandable, but we need to take him down. Now, you'll see here it says it is susceptible to poison, which means this enemy is terrible against poison. It's the opposite of resistant. It's more vulnerable. So I'm just going to cast Mephitic Cloud on top of him to start things off and step down. And there's actually 2 of them. So let me get all of them in this. And then I'm just going to Toxic Radiance. And then I'll go ahead and ignite. And so this is a good illustration of what happens sometimes with this. So the Hornet and the Rider actually have separate health pools. So in this case up here, the Spriggan himself has died, and his corpse is in the water. But his mount is up here and is alive, but almost dead. This Spriggan survived, but his mount did not, and he's almost dead, and he's poisoned and confused and standing in fire. So what I'm going to do is actually just go ahead and cast Poison Vapors on this Hornet, and it's going to die. And then while it's dying actively, I'm going to start putting Stone Arrow onto this guy. You can see that the Hornet and the Spriggan have died from fire and poison respectively. And I'm just going to start putting Stone Arrow into this guy. Now he is hitting me. He's even poisoned me, which is an amazing feat given the fact that I'm resistant to poison. But remember, we have all these hit points. I actually have 14 armor class. So we can just tank that Spiny Frog for a little bit anyway and hit him with our Stone Arrow. If he started to do some damage, if he got a big hit on me, I could just blink away and try to get some distance and then keep Stone Arrowing him. But for now, I'm just going to keep it where it is and it's fine. What skills are we working on? Conjurations, translocations, and fire magic. And fighting. That all sounds great. Let me look at my spells. I don't know why I'm doing... Oh, blink is at 3% and I want it to be lower. That makes sense. We're wearing this +5 robe still and rocking out. Crossbow. Got some jerky. Okay, there's a shadow, and that is just your typical undead enemy. And so, okay, there's a bunch of enemies over here, and there's a bog body. Bog body, you see the enemy's threat is yellow over there on the side. Bog bodies are something you want to be scared of, because they can do some stuff that will surprise you. Most notably, casting this Bolt of Cold on you. Now, here's a pro tip that I actually just learned the other day because there's so much to learn in the game, and this is a newer feature. One of the newer updates must have included this. And when I say newer, by the way, it could have been within the last few years. I've been playing the game so long that an update from 3 years ago seems new to me. But anyway, you see where it says Bolt of Cold and Slow, his abilities here on the card? I can always click on these to get more information. And then it tells you the range of the spell. But instead of going to this screen for the range, you can actually look on this screen, and the number in parentheses is the range of the spell. And if it's in red, that means you are within range. If it's gray, that means you are out of range. So this Bolt of Cold has a range of 5, and Slowing has a range of 7, but it only has a 5% chance to work on me. It's a hex, and my magic resistance is really, really high, so it's very unlikely that that would work. Now, although I am in range of his spell, this plant here is actually blocking line of sight. So he can't, or I'm sorry, not line of sight, but line of fire. So any spell like Bolt of Cold that would require line of fire, he cannot cast on me until he gets to this square. But let's look at this guy again. The other reason he's hard is he is immune to poison. So I could Toxic Radiance and it would hit him because it doesn't need line of fire. It's just a line of sight thing. But he doesn't care about poison. But you know what he does care about? You guessed it, fire. I'm going to cast Fireball, but it's very loud. So if enemies start coming out from this black area because they've heard it, and there's a lot more enemies in this vault, like we know there's another bog body who's sleeping down here who will 100% be awakened by the loud noise of my Fireball. I'm going to need to keep in mind that up here at this teal light blue square, there is a staircase out, and I might need to make a run for it. So I'm actually going to step back and step over and get myself even closer to the way out if I need it. And then now he is in line of fire, and we can start slinging spells at each other. 100% he is going to cast a bolt of cold on me, either this turn or the next. And luckily, remember I am resistant to cold because I got my Yeti robes on. I'm going to go ahead and give this guy Fireball. And Fireball is what? L? Alright, so Z, L, Fireball. Now remember, Fireball hits a area. I'll cast it up here. Boom. He actually didn't get hurt as much as I would like, and that's a shame. I'm going to give him Stone Arrow instead. And I'm going to give him Stone Arrow one more time. And why am I doing this? I'm going to wait one more square until he's on the water, and I'll show you why. That hit him really hard. And he's luckily just... I thought for sure he would start slinging his bolt of cold at me, but he's decided not to. He wants to come up and do melee to me, which is great. Anyway, I'm going to cast Fireball on him now. And the reason I'm going to do that is because you can do steam damage when an enemy is on water and you cast a fire spell on them. And they can take damage in the cloud of steam. So there's steam that's on him right now. So while he's in the steam, I'm just going to give him another Stone Arrow, and he has died. Now that used a lot of magic, because Fireball is like, what, a 5th level spell? Yeah. So remember, that takes 5 magic a pop, and I only have 38, so I can't just cast that spell all day long. Luckily, Vehement did give me some magic back, but you can see that the Shadow and the Bog Body are now coming after me. So I'm going to start walking back towards the way out in case I need to escape. This is something you really need to do anytime you're new to a floor, which is just kind of keep one foot out the door in case things start going sideways. You need to be able to run. And it's emphasized, of course, because you're new to the floor and there's a lot of enemies and you haven't got to thin the herd out very much, so there's danger everywhere. And my Fireball is really loud. Now, you'll notice that the Shadow is so generously standing in front of the Bog Body. I'm just going to keep walking up and keep the Shadow there. He shouldn't move from that path, and what he does is he's like running interference. He is actually blocking the Bog Body from being able to cast Bolt of Cold on me, which is terrific. I'm going to step up here and step over here. Now the Bog Body could cast, but I'm too far away. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles from him, so he can cast slow on me, but not the 5 ranged Bolt of Cold. So that's terrific. I'm gonna move up and move up, move over, and then now I'm gonna start. No, I'm actually gonna go all the way up and go here. Now I lost a little ground because moving in the water was slow and they got to catch up with me a little bit, but now I'm standing right on the doorway, and this way, if it goes bad, I can leave. Now, of course, remember, they still get a hit on you when you're leaving or going up the stairs or going out the door or whatever, but at the same time, as long as you time it correctly, you'll be fine. Most of the time. 95% of the time. Just yesterday, I almost got one-shotted. Well, I guess it's not one-shotted, but I was hit. I was at, like, nearly full health, and there were 3 archers all the way around me. And I was like, this I don't like this. I'm going to leave. And I left, and I just went in, saw 3 archers, and then immediately with my next action left. They all 3 got shots on me and took me, like, down to 10 health from 100 or something like that. And so you can take a massive amount of damage even on the stairway. So you have to kind of budget that into your threat assessment calculator. All right. So Shadow, of course, is undead. Don't care about poison at all. So I'm going to cast Stone Arrow on him and just try to get him out of here. And then now it's just me and the Bog Body, so we can give him a Fireball. And then give him a Stone Arrow. And he's dead. Easy peasy. I'm going to go out and rest. Not necessarily easy peasy. And look, we've woken up That little crypt over there, or that vault, is the kind of code word in Dungeon Crawl for a room with a bunch of enemies of a particular type hiding inside. It's like a themed area. It's filled with undead, and they're all awake and they know I'm here. So we're gonna have to take them down. I'm just gonna sling stone arrows until they die. Oh, he's too far away. That necrophage. I don't know why he's running away. That's interesting. Well, anyway, he knew he was going to die. Again. Okay. So sometimes, you know, stone arrow, sometimes with earth magic, you don't roll as well as you want, or their armor class rolls really well, and you just don't do as much damage as you're hoping to do. That time I just I don't want to say lucky, I just rolled well with the stone arrow, and that situation with the bog bodies worked out pretty decently. I don't even know if they cast Bolt of Cold on me, and so that's pretty funny. But I've definitely had characters before that have been damaged out of nowhere, and cold is one of those things that can hurt you really, really badly, even if you have resistance. Oh, here come the vampire mosquitoes. They're on their way. So I'm just going to put a mephitic cloud like right here, and then just ignite it and let these dudes deal with it. And I'll just kind of sandblast them a bit. This guy is not going into the flames, which is, you know, good on his part. The bog body is there, so I'm just going to stone arrow him. These flames, most of the time, if enemies are not mindless, they won't walk into fire. If they're confused, that's a different story, but the fire can kind of buy you some time. Where, like, he's not engaging me because of it, and I was able to just shoot, as you saw, my stone arrow at him across the fire, and he never even was able to get to me. So that's a beautiful thing that fire can do. Now, this Tyrant Leech is not immune to poison, so I'm just going to give him that. I'll give him a stone arrow, and as long as we hit, he should be gone. Oh, okay. Tyrant Leech, by the way, they can sneak up on you on melee. Be very careful. They, like, take a bite at you, and if you're damaged, they, like, do more damage to you because they're leeching your health. So they can start to overpower you if you're not careful. But we're slinging spells and doing a lot of damage, so it's not too big of a deal. Wow. Interesting. Interesting. Pearl dragon scales. You don't see those every day. That's a very nice find. Also, we were able to get a potion of haste, which is another terrific item for escape. And items that help you escape in this are like some of my favorite because it's permadeath. And when you want to run, you really want to run. Alright, let me get this scroll of fog, and I'm going to pick up these pearl dragon scales. Now check this out. Pearl dragon scales are base armor rating 10, which is the same as plate mail. And they have a encumbrance rating 11, which is, I believe, plate mail has encumbrance rating 15. So it's less encumbering than plate mail, but it also gives you resistance to negative energy. So if I look at myself, I have no pips of resist negative energy, so that would be good. Also, if I look at my robe, its base armor rating is 2, and so this would be a huge upgrade in terms of our durability, but the encumbrance rating difference is 11, and so let me show you what that means for our character. I'm going to go all the way out, boom, like this, and I'm going to put it on. So right now, here's my spell failure rate. 4 is the highest. Everything else is like 1 or 3. Let me wear Pearl Dragon Scales. And you can see that I'm actually doing okay, but blink fireball spells that are not poison are pretty much outside of my wheelhouse. Frozen Ramparts, can't cast it anymore. So this is important because blink is one of my go-to spells. However, I can cast Stone Arrow. So what does that mean? That means that I have now an armor class of 17 when it was at 14, and instead of having a pip of resist cold, I would get a pip of resist negative energy. But the key factor is the Pearl Dragon Scales have a base armor rating of 10. So remember, base armor rating. What that means is when you're rolling to reduce incoming damage, your floor starts at your base armor rating. And now the equation might be more complicated than that, and it might not be exactly that, but the general idea is the higher your base armor rating, the more guaranteed damage you are to block, as opposed to the volatility of a robe with a 2. So this will significantly improve our chances of survival. Even though our armor class only goes up by 3, our base armor has gone up so much that over a series of hits, this will be protecting us better. So what we can start doing now is training armor. And if you remember, and I had forgotten this, so I don't blame you if you don't remember, we did pick up a manual of armor, and you know that because there's this +4 over here in the margins. So I'm going to turn off fighting temporarily and turn on armor while I wear these Pearl Dragon Scales. And yes, I'm going to wear them because most of our spells are still castable, and this gives us a chance to take some hits. Alright, so here comes the Bog Body. Now he can do more damage to us with his arrow, Bolt of Cold, unfortunately. But he decided not to use it, so good for us. Alright, there's a Bog Body that doesn't see us, and a insubstantial Wisp that does. And so I'm going to step back and just fight the Wisp by itself. Insubstantial Wisps, don't get it twisted. The name is insubstantial, but they are not. They used to be harder, I feel like, than they are now, but they do a good amount of damage, and they can rip through you if you're not in armor. It can hit for 12 damage, and it can blink itself if any damage is dealt. It's really fast, and it evades a lot. It's mindless. You can't use hexes or any kind of thing on it. It has magic immunity. So we're just going to try and hit it with Stone Arrow. Unfortunately, as you know, it's not easy to hit something with that much evade. But luckily we were able to clip it and kill him. Stone Arrow is doing great work for us. And like I said, it's a very, very powerful middle game nuke that is efficient and can help you take down enemies that are resistant to poison. I'm just going to stand here and cast it. Actually, I'm going to cast Sandblast on that guy. Okay. Lots of enemies are coming in here. So I need to keep an eyeball on my... Oh, he cast a Bolt of Cold on me, but it missed. I need to keep an eyeball on my magic. I'm going to hit him once. He hit me again with Bolt of Cold, you can see, and he did, 27 damage with it. It's no joke. I also have no cold resistance anymore, so it's even more potent against me. I'm going to just Stone Arrow this guy. We killed him. Stone Arrow this guy. Ooh, okay. Now it's time to pay attention. This is a Shambling Mangrove, alright? A Shambling Mangrove is extremely scary. He has this ability called Grasping Roots, and it calls roots from underground to constrict you. And so what that means is it holds you in place so that you can't run away. And that's very scary. So I'm going to try to do exactly that, run away. And you can see that I've just been constricted. So I can no longer run. However, I can blink if I need to. Now, you'll see I'm just trying to hit this dude with my staff for a moment. The roots and their constriction is doing 5 damage per tick. It just did 10 damage. Oh, never mind. It was the bolt of lightning from the dude there, from the insubstantial wisp. Okay, so we need to start thinking about how we're going to get out of this situation. Alright. Alright, so the Shambling Mangrove is like a plant, so he hates fire. No, he doesn't really care. Okay. I'm being very considerate here because I have so few MP. I kind of overextended myself on MP, and I thought this was the last wisp, and it was no problem. But then this Shambling Mangrove appeared. I have 9 scrolls of teleportation. Ooh, oh my gosh, I forgot about these 5 scrolls of enchant armor that I picked up. As soon as I get out of this fight, I'm going to put all of those onto our Pearl Dragon scales and pump up this armor for us. Okay. I'm going to try to blink. Blink is what? K? Okay. Beep. Alright. So when you blink, you get out of the constriction, which is good, but problem is I still have very, very few magic points. I'm going to try to walk away as much as I can. The reason I'm kind of just walking away, and the wisp is hitting me, by the way, is because I'm trying to regenerate magic points and find an escape if I need it. Okay. So we can go around the corner here, and now we're okay. We got out of danger. Luckily, the mangrove did not use his constricting roots on us again, so I'm just going to go up and fully rest. Now, when I come back down, they will probably be... yep, they're in view, and they're right by, so I have to watch out for this. And I need to think about what I want to do here. Okay, I know what I want to do. I want to shoot flame at the mangrove. And it hit him. And now there's a cloud of steam that's blocking him from view. So I'm just going to wait. And then now the mangrove is here. I'm going to hit him with stone arrow as many times as I can. Alright, now we've killed him. Okay. I'm going to put a Mephitic Cloud here. I'm going to sting him. Alright, I'm going to just ignite. Oh, he's not on an ignited square. I kind of got confused. Alright. Oop, and I'm constricted. Okay. So, we need to blink and hope that we don't blink into the fire, which we did not, mercifully. And he's constricted us again, but we have some space. So what do we want to do? Like, what's the most painful thing we can do to him? going to cast Fireball on him. By the way, Fireball can set trees on fire, as it did there. Now I'm just going to Stone Arrow him. Oh, these guys are here. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly Toxic Radiance so that they don't make it. And then I'm going to put a Mephitic Cloud right here. And then now I'm going to Ignite Poison. And we're really, really beat up. So what I need to do is quaff a potion of Heal Wounds. And I'm going to now blink. And I'm going to put one stone arrow into him, and we killed him. Now that was really close, and it's unfortunate that I had to use a consumable, but I think it's a very good illustration of how dangerous Shambling Mangroves are. They're probably one of the most dangerous things that you will encounter in the swamps. So give them the respect that they deserve. Now there's another dangerous thing. That would be a 6-headed Hydra and a swamp worm. So we need to step away and step down here. Okay. I'm going to put a cloud right there. It has confused the Tyrant Leech, thankfully. Now the Hydra can walk through this deep water, so don't think that's a problem for it. And he doesn't care about the Mephitic Cloud. So we have to think about what is the best way to fight this guy. Alright, I'm going to move, and he's going to go fast because he's on water now. Okay, and I'm going to blink over here and use my distance. But remember, he's on water, so now he's like moving super speed. Okay. Step here and blink. Oop, blink. Oop, blink. Nope, blink. There we go. Alright. I want to fight this Hydra. It's not too bad, but I don't want to fight it with a lot of guys at the same time. And I'd also like to be at max distance. Alright. So let me try to blink again. That's a good place. And then just get some land, because across land, the Hydra is not that great. Now here he has done his thing of moving across water really quickly to close the distance. Again, like I was saying, it's very annoying, this ability they have to move across water. Now, another annoying thing is, you saw me right there, these swamp worms have this grappling ability, which is silly. But he's moved me over here right next to him, which is actually kind of a blessing. Temporarily. So I'm going to try to blink. I'm going to try it. There we go. 3 times. I'm going to step down here. I'm going to take a second to think. I'm going to do something strange, perhaps, but what I'm going to do is, I don't like this spot that I'm in. And I can try to keep blinking and get a good position, but because of all this water, the Hydra's going to get on me faster than I want. And so I'm actually going to read a scroll of teleportation. And then I'm going to just step back and step back. And it has moved me up here to this part of the map. Like, I was down here, and now I'm way over here, and I'm far away from those guys. It's risky to teleport, but I had almost mapped this entire floor, so the chances are that I was going to go to a place where there was no enemies, and that the Hydra was not. So now I can lick my wounds a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and enchant armor, my Pearl Dragon Scales. I'm going to just give them 3 for now, just a nice round 20 on the armor class. I'm going to rest a little bit. And here's an insubstantial wisp, and if it wants to come fight, which it does, that's fine, whatever. We just give him this, and yeah, he's gone. There's a Swamp Drake, but Swamp Drake really isn't too big of a deal. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay, now we're fully healed. I'm going to identify, oh! I picked up an artifact amulet. That amulet that we saw by the Crypt of Undead people. I thought it was just a regular amulet, but it's in fact artifact. So let's see what it is. It's Faith and Intelligence +4. What artifact, what amulet are we wearing right now? We don't even have one. So, Faith is not really super important with the Humid, now that we are so far along, but Intelligence +4 is great, and Faith doesn't hurt, so I'm going to put on this amulet. And now, by the way, with that boost of Intelligence, you'll see that my fail rate has gone down more, and that our spell hunger is improved. I mean, for Toxic Radiance, we now have no spell hunger. Stone Arrow is nothing. In fact, the only spell that's making me hungry is Fireball on Lee's Rapid Deconstruction. Okay. So that's a terrific discovery. Let me identify these potions. Potion of Magic, which is huge. That can save our life right there. It would have been really helpful to know about that in one of the last battles, but now we know. And let me identify my last potion, which is Invisibility. That also would have been very helpful. Great. That's another excellent way to escape. I'm going to just drop this Troll Leather Armor. And I will read my Scroll of Identify on this Steel Ring. And it's a +6 Ring of Strength. What rings are we wearing? Protection from Magic and Magical Power. Those are fine. I mean, +6 Strength is great. It would help with the Encumbrance rating. The better your strength, the better you're able to deal with Encumbrance rating in terms of wearing heavy armor and having less spell fail rate, but it's fine. Alright, so I'm just going to go around and explore, and I'd like to take out that Hydra at some point. Ooh, and we reached level 15. Translocations to 3, Fire Magic to 3. Perfect. We are going to go with Intelligence, and you can see we're getting even better at our spells with the Strength and Intelligence boost. And, yep, there's a Swamp Dragon and a Bog Body. Okay, so the Swamp Dragon is coming at us, and the Bog Body doesn't see us, thankfully, but he will. I'm just going to pull this Swamp Dragon as far away from the other enemies as I can, reasonably. Okay, and what's cool is it looks like that Bog Body didn't add on. So I'm going to go over the Swamp Dragon and show you his business. He's only resistant to poison. He's not immune. He's got a poisonous cloud that he puts out, but because we're resistant to poison, that's not so bad. And he can hurt us really badly in melee. So what we want to do is Stone Arrow him, pretty much. And just hope that we can do enough damage. And we did. Stone Arrow just doing its job. Oof. When it hits. That's the thing. You really have to be mindful. I mean, you can just roll badly and miss with spells like that, and it's just very frustrating. Oh, here comes the Bog Body. He's kind of penned us in. We got one more cast, and we got him. Oh, Tyrant Leech. Come on now, dude. I'm trying to rest over here. Okay. I'm just using my lightning rod as an evocations tool to take him down because I ran out of magic points, and we're okay now. So the goal is, there's a swamp worm, is trying to hit these dudes. I'm going to give him a wand of flame because he's standing in the water there. He's probably going to pull us over anytime now. Nope, he didn't. And here's the Hydra. And this time, we have a little bit more space. Not a lot, unfortunately. I'm actually going to step up here and hope that... Nah, he's going through the water. He's smart. But it's only him. By himself, is what I mean. So... I'm just going to give him Stone Arrow and see how that works, yeah. And because of our huge Pearl Dragon armor, we can actually stand in there a little bit. I also want to point out, you see that our armor class is 21. That is because our armor skill is going up. And that is helping us. Blink is now down to 7% fail. And even Fireball's down to 11%. So that's helping us get better with all of our spells in this heavy armor. And that's terrific. And get more armor class. So the armor skill both gives you more armor class and makes you better at wearing armor, which reduces the impact of encumbrance and heavy armor. I'm just going to give him Poison Vapors. And I'm going to sting him and then just ignite him and Stone Arrow a few times, I guess. Oh. Okay, so now we are being offered knowledge of Airstrike. Airstrike is a 4th level spell. And let me show you this. Causes the air around a creature to twist itself into a whirling vortex of meteorological fury. It does more damage to targets surrounded by empty space. It is especially effective against flying enemies. So this is a great thing to use against flyers. It's a very efficient single target spell, and if you can use it against an enemy that is surrounded by empty space, it's even better. Now, I only have 2 empty spell levels, but I do have Scrolls of Amnesia if I wanted to forget something. But that's a cool spell, without question. Alright, well, everybody, I want to thank you so much for watching this episode of Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Beginner Caster Guide here in 2020. We just cleared the first level of the swamp, and we had some tough encounters, but we made it through. We are leveling up. We got some new armor to wear. We're getting better at wearing it, and that's one of the cool things about Ogre Casters is that they can wear heavy armor because of their strength. But you just have to get to a point where you can get heavy armor that's big enough for them, because they can't wear plate, but they can wear dragon scales. And we just happened to find some pearl dragon scales, and it works out great. I hope you guys have an excellent evening or day, and we'll pick it up next time in the swamps with this Ogre Venom Mage. Try to get that rune. Alright, everybody. Thanks again. Take care.